Hi.
Hi.
We're so happy to have you, Miss Manganello. So this is Miss Manganello. Do you want to introduce yourself really quick for those who
Of
don't know you?
course. I'm Mrs. Manganello. For those of you that haven't met me yet, I am one of the librarians here at the high school. I've been in South Brunswick for 14 years, and this is my 10th year full-time at the high school.
And we're so excited to have you. So I'm Tabby,
I'm Ira.
and so we're just gonna ask Miss Manganello a couple questions. So stay tuned, and hopefully it's a good time. I was wondering if you could like expand on it, like for the viewers, and just like your
Sure.
whole kind of journey. Yeah.
The funny thing about librarians is that they never start out to be librarians. So my first job when I was 14 or 15 was in my public library, and I got paid $4.25 an hour to work 2 hours after school, and I could shelve books and I could check people out, and that was fun. But I never thought about being a librarian. I wanted to be an art teacher. And I went to school to be an art teacher. And when I got to school, which I think you find when you're in college, you think you want to do something, and then you get there and you start studying it and you think, this isn't really what I expected, or this isn't really what I wanted, or you find something you're really, really interested in. So that was kind of my case. I really loved art history. So I started becoming more interested in art history. So I switched my major from art education to art history with a minor in studio arts. So I graduated, I wanted to go get my master's degree in art history. And I applied to, I think, 8 different programs, and every single one of them turned me down. And then I was like, well, what do I do now? Because now I have this art history degree, which, when you tell your parents you're going to go major in art history, they're like, why?
Like.
Um, so I came home and I started looking for jobs, and I'm originally from North Jersey. So I started looking in New York, and I found this job it was an art grant assistant, and that the ad was really, really vague. But it turns out that it was for the John Simon Guggenheim Foundation. And my job was to collect all the materials for an art grant competition. So it was actually really, really cool because I got to get all these boxes in, and I'd open all of this artist work, and then I'd organize it all. And I'd when the jurors came in to look at it, I would be the one to show them the different portfolios of the different artists. So I get to meet really interesting people, and it was just fun to work in New York. So I did that for a few years, and then I reapplied to schools. And when I reapplied, I was accepted. I went to University of Pittsburgh for my master's in art history, with the idea that I was going to become a professor. I really liked teaching, so I wanted to do something with that. But I didn't love it enough that I wanted to do it for all of the years that are required to get your PhD. So then I came home again with yet another degree in art history. And my parents were like, come on now, you have 2 and you still don't have a job. So I ended up working for Princeton University. I got my job in Princeton for the art history department in their visual resources collection. And I was a cataloger. So basically what that means is I was the person who handled at the time all of their slides that they used for their art history classes, and I worked with the professors on their materials that they needed for their lectures, their photographs and their slides. Which was a really interesting job too, because you got to meet a lot of people that were really like an interesting community, and it was fun to work for Princeton. But while I was at Princeton, I got married, and I decided that I really wanted to have a job that was more of an educational job, and an educational job meant I had to go back to school. So Princeton sent me back to school, and I went to Rutgers and I got my master's in library science. So that's how I got here. They hired me here out of my degree program. And I swear the only reason they hired me is because I was the only one crazy enough to take the job. Because at the time, and you guys might remember this, and I know there are seniors and juniors and even sophomores in the building that remember me from the K-5 world, because I was, when I started here, a split position. I was at Dayton and Dean's and the high school my first year. So it was 3 different schools and you had to move between schools like during the day. So I was like constantly moving from one place to another, which was, I think the only reason they hired me is that I was the only one that was not smart enough to say, that's a crazy job. I'm not doing that. So here I am.
So when did the job like change like from that to like what you're doing now?
Yeah. I stayed at Dayton Dean's High School for the first year. And then even the administration here went, this is crazy. We can't make this poor girl run all over town, you know, moving from place to place. So the second year was much more manageable. The second year was I was at Dayton and on certain days, and I was at the high school most of the time. And then I had a year where I was at Monmouth Junction, and I started the year at Junction and the high school librarian retired. And then I was able to come here full time. So that was 10 years ago. I've been here for 10 years now as a full time.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's a way better gig than like going all over town. So
exactly. I was like, when I got hired here and I was able to come here every day, I said the best part about accepting the full-time position here was I could say to people, I'll see you tomorrow, and actually come back.
That's so good. I love that. Ira, do you have any questions?
Okay, I have a question, slightly going a little off topic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what book talk is?
Book talk? No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the name for it, or at least that's what people on TikTok say. So are you on TikTok at all?
Okay, I have a TikTok story. It's going to make me sound like I'm 105. Okay. My child, who's in the 6th grade, is on TikTok, and he told me, he's like, Mom, we have to go to Dunkin' because I have to get the Charlie whatever drink, because I need to get this, Mom. Very important. So I'm like, on the way home in the car, I'm like, because I am the dorkiest mother ever. Sorry, Andrew, who's a 9th grader who might actually watch this. I am. I said to him, I said, you know what? I said, maybe there's a whole unexplored TikTok here. Maybe I should get on TikTok and I should do book talks. And he was like, he was horrified. And he goes, Mom, that is not a thing. And I don't know what you're talking about right now. And I'm like, but no, seriously. I'm like, I could go live in a mansion in California. I could be famous for, like, you know, here I am with my phone and my book talks, and I'd be holding stuff up. I'm like, it'd be great. He's like, really, Mom, no. So yeah, I don't know. Is there really a thing? Is there a book talk thing?
Yeah, you should totally do it. It's book talk is basically like, it's just a collection of people who love to read. It's like book recommendations. Some people like write mini stories that are part of their books later on. I think it's really interesting that I asked you about it because I feel like if you had TikTok, you would be on book talk.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm gonna get this today. I need to try this. Will anyone follow me? Because, like, you know, normally people are like, no.
I think they will. I think
yeah. Because like Miss Olsen is on TikTok too.
Yeah. Have you seen her TikTok?
Like a mom TikTok too. Like
I did participate in the senior event last year where we all learned a TikTok dance, which took me, because I have zero coordination, it took me the better part of like 10 days. I practiced every day my TikTok dance, and the boys at home were like, because I have 2 boys, my boys were like, oh my God, Mom. And here I am again with my husband's like, why is this song? It can't get out of my head. And I'm like, I know, because I have to learn the TikTok dance. So yeah, so you can find me on YouTube doing the TikTok dance.
We're gonna
we're definitely gonna watch that clip later. Yeah, I was just curious because I feel like book talk is like I've seen your Twitter and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like you would be perfect for book talk.
Well, now, you know, my Twitter post went viral. That like completely blew my mind. And if you haven't seen my viral, this is me. Okay. I tweet like book recommendations and like little displays I put up in the library. And the only people that follow me are like other 40-year-old librarians. Like no one follows me. So I put up the column, which is our Amanda Gorman column that has her picture and the quote that I put in the middle of the library. And it started to get some followers, and I was like, oh, that's nice. And I went home and it had like 100. I had broken 100 likes, and I was like, oh, I broke 100 likes. This is amazing. And then I was making dinner, and my phone, because I don't get many tweets, has the notification turned on. So when I get a tweet, it notifies me, and a little banner pops up at the top of the screen. So I'm making dinner, and the phone is going crazy. Like I can't even get to the top of the screen to deactivate the notifications because it won't stop notifying me. And I'm going, what is going on? And it was like, it was funny because I was texting the teachers here and they're all like, what is happening right now? And I'm like, I don't know. I go, it's thousands. We got up to, I think we're at 37.2 thousand likes for the column. I was like, oh my God, I have gone viral. I can check that off my bucket list.
Yeah,
No,
you don't even need TikTok.
Me and Ira were looking through your Twitter today during class.
It's very boring.
I was so happy because there's a SVHS Goodreads, which I didn't know that. I'm like obsessed with Goodreads.
Tabby is just so obsessed with Goodreads.
I followed it.
Thank you, because everything I read, I write a little review for and I put it up on Goodreads so that I can remember what I read. But it also like to help people who like to follow me to find out what I read.
Yeah, so we saw that you were reading like one book per week. Was that your goal? Like 50? That's crazy.
52 is my goal. I think I hit it last year. This year, but I cheat. I will be honest. I listen to audiobooks and I read books and I read graphic novels. So if I get a little behind, I'll either pick up an audiobook or I'll do a graphic novel, which reads more quickly so I can like kind of catch up.
There's like, even on like Book Talk, I've seen this, like there's like a stigma behind audiobooks, but I feel like audiobooks are so helpful. Like,
I think they're so peaceful to listen to, but everyone's like, oh, audiobooks.
Oh, they're great because a lot of times if you're not a big reader, that just means you haven't found the right book yet. It doesn't mean, and maybe you haven't found the right format yet. I know a lot of people that only read audiobooks. That's the way they read. And that totally counts as reading. That is 100%, great thing to do. Our Manganello subscription, which you can get on your phone, you just check out the books through Manganello and they go right to your phone. So if you go for a walk, you can listen to an audiobook. If you're, I do it when I'm vacuuming because I have AirPods and the AirPods cancel out the noise around me. So I can vacuum my house and listen to an audiobook at the same time. Look how fun I am. I'm vacuuming my house and I'm listening to an audiobook.
No,
this might be the worst interview you've ever had.
No, oh my God.
I listen to them when I clean my room, so I get it. But like you said, like, people that don't like reading, they haven't found the right book. Me and Ira were just talking about that.
I was like, for me, I used to love reading when I was a kid. I have a stack of books here that I used to love reading as a kid that I reread as like an adult. But like, I was just thinking about how like I feel like it's not even if you find the one book that speaks to you. I feel like you have to find like a genre that speaks to you because then you are like invested,
Absolutely. And I mean, like some people think, well, I don't like to read novels, so therefore I don't like to read. But you might like nonfiction. I mean, you might like if you're interested in sports and you like to read, what coaches write about different sports teams. That's a form of reading that totally counts. It's just you finding what you're interested in and then finding it in a format that works for you.
Like, how do you, like, if people feel like they haven't found it yet, like, how do you recommend they like search for it, like the type of books that they want?
I think the best thing to do is, and that's what a library is great for. I mean, don't go out and buy a pile of books because maybe you'll hate all of them, but you can definitely browse. And I mean, right now, Manganello is great because you can kind of check things out and like look and see if it's something that you're interested in. But I always think that, social media is great for this, find someone that you like following and see what they're reading. If they're reading something you like, that may be a good entry point for you.
Yeah, I've got such a massive list. So on Book Talk, right? I've just made it to Book Talk, even though like I haven't been reading lately. But on Book Talk, there are so many people like giving recommendations for book. I have a massive list of them. Just like there's like horror, there's enemy. Okay, a big thing on Book Talk that I realize people are very into lately, it's like enemies to lovers books that you should read. That's so cute. I have like a whole list of them.
In the publishing world, it's like they fall into these patterns. It's like suddenly, like a few years ago, it was vampire books. every book had a vampire in it.
Yeah.
Then we went to zombies. Then we went to dystopian, and we were like, everybody was destroying the world. And like right now, I guess the big theme would be, and it's a kind of a positive theme, would be like a social justice. Like there's a lot of characters that are struggling with their rights or the rights of others, which is kind of a really positive thing, but it's definitely like a niche. Like the publishing world moves in niches, because if somebody sells a vampire book, everybody suddenly is writing vampire books.
Yeah.
I also think like ever since Bridgerton came out, like that show, I feel like a lot of them are like the period, like
Yep.
Victorian romances, like that's really
Mhm.
popular now. So
And we've
yeah,
got plenty of historical fiction, and historical fiction is a big genre for romances. So, you know, if you're a Bridgerton fan, you can find a book here that absolutely is going to play into that.
yeah. I was telling you about this YouTuber that I really like. His name is Jack Edwards. And so like what he does is like he gets like different topics, and then like within the week he like reads out one topic. So like he did one with like all the books that Harry Styles recommended, and then like all the ones that like Rap Monster from BTS recommended. Like it's really cool. So just like finding people online that like have really good recommendations. Like I feel like that has been super
He
helpful.
also, Tabby was showing me, he like analyzed a bunch of Taylor Swift songs, and he was like, I read every single book that she mentioned, every single illusion, I found it. Like it's so interesting.
And see, that's great. It's a great way to, that's what we want. We want to build a network of readers. We want you to not, it always makes me sad when someone graduates from here and they're like, oh, I've never been to the library, or, oh, I've never checked out a book. And I'm like, really? I'm like, give it a try. I mean, we want you to kind of have the opportunity to kind of see and taste and figure out what your niche is. Because I mean, in high school is a hard place. Finding a little bit of a niche for yourself, even if it's just a genre that you like, is a great thing.
And it's such a nice way to like escape for a little bit. Like even like I feel like I'm so like isolated in a good way, like from the world. Like I don't have to worry about everything else like when I'm reading. So yeah, like high school is kind of a scary place sometimes. So it's super helpful. But I was just wondering, like, have you always been like a big reader, or has this been like a more recent?
That's a good question. When I was in high school, I'm my high school English teachers are crying now. I was not a particularly good student, which I don't know why that surprises people, but it seems to. I didn't really like high school, and I didn't really like my English books. I always felt like they picked these books, and I'm like, why are they making me read this? Um, I can vividly remember I got assigned when I was a sophomore, like it was a Charles Dickens novel, and I did not read it. And I remember doing the quiz, like, because we used to have these quizzes, and I completely made up the answers on the quiz because I was like, I didn't read it. I don't know what it which I failed the quiz. In high school, what I love to read Sweet Valley High, which was this ridiculous series with two twins that were blonde that live in California, and they drove a red Corvette. And every single novel was the same story. Like they solved the mystery. It was like basically the same book, like over and over and over again. But I liked them, so I read it. I like to read really bad like horror and mystery novels when I was
I
in
love reading those.
yeah, I love them. And the worse they were, the better. I like them better.
Yes, they're
So
so humorous to read.
yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying. Like if you see yourself as a reader, even if you're reading a genre that's terrible, like some of the ones I just mentioned, I mean, that's okay. You see yourself as a reader, you'll grow into whatever it is that you want to read as an adult, you know, as you get out into the world and you find the things you're interested in. But even keeping yourself, even if it's manga and you really love reading like a graphic novel or comic, that's okay. I mean, there's a place for that, and it keeps you reading.
So like I love learning about like how teachers were in high school. So I just think that's so interesting.
It's
And
so interesting, like how they've changed and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
When I tell the English teachers that I was terrible, I read a lot. I just didn't read anything they gave me to read. I mean, I was totally like, I was, let's face it, I was socially promoted out of high school, because if they had actually like graded my math tests, I would still be in high school, because there's no way I would have gotten out. Yeah, I was the kid that I always turned my homework in. I always made sure I had things done. People felt sorry for me because I was so bad at math that they were like, get a tutor. And then the tutor couldn't help. And it was like, well, she got a tutor, so let's just keep pushing her along. She's never going to do anything with math. We don't have to worry about this one actually, like, you know, being an engineer and having to like figure out how to calculate something. That won't happen. So just get her out.
And you're not. So it
worked out.
Win-win. That whole, you're going to use it someday. I don't use it. But actually, that's not true. Here, because I'm a librarian, I have to do a budget and I have to allocate like how much I spend. And like that gives me still to this day so much anxiety because my math is like, I will, and my husband's an accountant. So I will call him and be like, hey, I'm trying to figure out this. And he's like, just bring it home. I'll do the numbers for you.
Wait, that's so cute. I love that.
See, marry somebody that has the skills that you don't have, that you know you made a good match then.
I'm always like, I'm gonna marry a STEM person because I'm like so bad at STEM. But so then like when did you like actually like when did you find your love for reading if you didn't like so much in high school?
So in high school, like the only thing I really loved about high school was I loved to swim. I was a swimmer. And so that was my niche in high school. But when I got to college, like I said, I liked art. I liked to swim. I went to a school that had art education and would put me on the swim team. And then once I got there, college is such a game changer because you're picking the courses that you want to take and they should be based on something you actually want to be. So you become like really interested in what you're being assigned because this is like what you actually want to do with your life. So that's when I started reading more. And I mean, for me, I was a lifeguard in the summertime and there's a lot of downtime in being a lifeguard where I worked. So I read a lot. It was before phones. So, you know, there really wasn't a lot to do except play solitaire and you know, read. So I would read, and I don't know why, but I started this idea that there was a list out there called like 100 books you should read before you die. So I started on that and I just was like, well, let me see how many of them I could read. And then like, I do like little like genres. Like I did Charles Dickens one summer. I read all of Charles Dickens' work one summer just because I decided to read it. So like now looking back, I can see what my English teachers were trying to get me to like get out of it. But at the time I was like, I don't want to read this. But when I had to do it myself at my own pace and I could kind of take out of it what I wanted, then I was good.
That's really cool that you ended up doing it. Your English teachers are like quaking right now.
I know, right?
Your English teachers are just gonna be watching this and be like, wait.
I know exactly. I've often thought, I wonder what my English teachers, if I went back and I said, I'm a librarian and I read a lot, they'd probably be like, no, you're not.
You should film it. Put it on your YouTube channel.
Exactly.
Oh my God, your first TikTok is you going back to your English teachers and telling them that you're like,
that would be brilliant. I would watch that. Like,
I feel like that would go viral. 100%.
Except all my English teachers are probably dead. Sorry, English teachers, you're pretty darn old if you're not dead.
This is like a really like random question. Like we wrote down a few questions that we wanted to ask you. One of them that I thought was really cool is just like, what's one book that you would recommend to everyone? Like,
okay, let me think. Okay, one book I would recommend that I think everyone should read. I think that, and this is kind of hard because I have a lot of different books that I would say like my absolute favorite book ever is The Grapes of Wrath by Steinbeck. I just love that book. I think everybody should read it, but it's an awfully hard and awfully long book and you have to really be committed to it. So the book I think everyone should read is probably something more contemporary. So I would pick probably Dear Martin by Nick Stone, because I think that if you don't know the story of Dear Martin, it's the story of a boy named Justice. And Justice is a senior in high school in a suburb of Atlanta. And he is an honors kid. He's going to Yale in the fall. He's got this bright future ahead of him. He gets called to his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend is involved in, she's been drinking. She's trying to get in a car to drive. his friends call him. He goes to the scene to try to stop her, and the police come. And the police, because he's Black, decide that he is the problem, not the person who is trying to create the solution. And because of that, and even after her parents show up and they explain to the officer what happened, and you know, there's a million ways that they could have looked at this differently. They take him to jail, and he has to come to terms with the fact that his world and the way he sees himself and the way he sees his future is always going to be kind of judged by his appearance. And what does that mean? So he writes this series of letters to Martin Luther King with the idea that the letters from the Birmingham jail that Martin Luther King wrote, which they were doing as part of their senior project, he's trying to like reflect on what's happening to him. I loved it because it's like a epically just powerful, and it's so timely right now with all of the things that are happening in our country. I really think that's a book that all of our teachers, all of our students, all of our parents, everyone should read that, because I think it gives you such a window into different viewpoints.
Wow, that sounds really good. Now I want to read that.
I literally added it to my list already.
Good.
Oh no, I have like a really cool bookstore that's like, so it's like a second owned bookstore. Second, is that what it's called? Second owned, used? I don't
Yes,
know.
either one.
Yeah.
I take either.
It's in Hamilton, New Jersey. It's called the Book Trader of Hamilton, and it's amazing. So like I
Oh,
buy a lot of my books from there. So basically the paperbacks are half of whatever the list price is. So like if you
nice.
look on the back and like they have like the price is just half of that, and then the hardcover books are just $5. So it's a really good, and like even like supporting like a small business, especially like during this time, it's just cool. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It is. That's great. Oh, I'm gonna have to check them out. That's when we go on vacation every summer, we go to Wildwood, and they have a secondhand bookshop down there. And every year I have to make a trip to the secondhand bookshop and load up a bag and bring them home with me. So I do love that.
Yeah.
I feel
But
like
I like go ahead. What were you
no,
gonna say?
I was just gonna say I feel like I'd never ever go to bookshops. I should, but I never
It's
got the chance to.
it's just nice to go and browse, because
It
you never
is.
know what you're gonna find.
Even when
So
you don't buy anything, like
yeah.
Barnes and Noble, I love going there, and I
Mhm.
never buy anything because it's really expensive, especially
Oh,
for a high schooler.
it's like a big library. I mean, you just go and you look, and you know, sometimes I get ideas for things I want to buy for the library when I go there. So, you know, and always support your public library. I mean, we were lucky in South Brunswick. We have a fantastic public library who does, you know, they do a ton of programs, and they're really well recognized, and they're actually just starting a big expansion. So they're going to get bigger. The library is getting a huge addition on it. That's going to be a part community center and part, you know, just increasing the scale of what they can offer. So
Yeah, I love the South Brunswick Public Library. It's my place. I feel like when before like COVID and everything, like with group projects, if you go there, you see like half of our people like from
yes.
school
Yeah.
just doing group projects and
Yeah,
stuff.
that completely blows people's minds when I like go there in the evening, and then I see students from here and they're like, oh my God, she lives in the library. She never leaves the library.
Oh my god! I know for every I kind of live right by the South Brunswick Library.
Yeah, you do.
For so many Oh, I went to Brooks Crossings, and our librarian was Mrs. Tom.
Yes.
So when we went to middle school and we went back to the library, we saw her.
You're
We were
there.
like, whoa! It was
Yes.
such a mind blowing experience seeing her there.
Have you thought about that? Like even what you I know that's a really long time, but what
Um,
are you gonna do?
I don't know. See, I think the best thing about my job is, and this sounds silly, but if I could give teenagers, you know, high school students, one piece of advice, it's do a job you really love. And I really love this job. I love every aspect of it. You have to really like service to be a librarian, because it's kind of a service related job. You have to be able to help people find things and be available. And so I think that I really love doing this, and I can't imagine not doing this. So I don't know what I would do next. I would definitely be open to working at like a public library or a bookstore, or I would love to do something where I'm talking about books with people. Maybe even like a tea shop where you have tea and like there's books, and I don't know. That's like that would be my retirement plan, I guess.
That's so cool. So me and Ira in class, like we were like, we were
No,
like,
we both smiled at the same time because we thought of the exact same thing. I didn't know it.
we, like, I was like, oh my gosh, I kind of want to be a librarian. Like after, like it's so cool.
Best job in the building. It's the best job in the building. I get to every class comes in, I get to meet lots of students. I get to work with them. I get to plan with teachers, which I really love. I get to order great books. I get to talk about books all day. I like technology, so that's a big thing for a librarian. But yeah, best job in the building.
Yeah, we literally like planned out Tabby's whole future. She's gonna be a librarian first, and then when she gets enough money, she's gonna open her own bookstore. And it's gonna be called Tabby's with a little cat at the end.
Oh, you could have a cat that walked around the library. Oh, that would be adorable.
It really would. My future is planned out.
Yeah, it's literally planned out.
Work is done here.
But yeah, I feel like you get to like meet everyone in the school. Like teachers, like they have like their classes, but you're like everyone's teacher, kind of, which is like really cool.
I really like that. I really like that.
Like when students, sorry, this is kind of random, but when students go to college, like, do you ever miss certain students? Like what?
Yes, of course. That's the worst part about this. I will say that, and I've said that to Mrs. Ciccone before. It's like you get used to a group of students and they leave you. And it's like, and see, I've had an advantage for years because I started with the little guys at the K2. I now have my seniors, juniors, and sophomores I had when they were little people. And I said, I got the best of both worlds because I got to see the beginning of the story and the end of the story. And that was my favorite part of being K5 all the way up through high school. But yes, we always wonder, and we're always so happy to see you when you come back, and we want to like follow you on social media. We want to see what you're doing. We're like, oh, that's such a great thing that this person is doing. And that's one of the nice things about social media, that we really don't lose you anymore. We can kind of watch from the side and see where your life goes next, which is really, really great.
I love that.
I think for certain teachers, it's like the same for students. Like we want to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I've definitely looked up some of my teachers on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, we're there.
I'm only excited to leave high school so I can finally follow all of my favorite teachers and be like, hey.
Exactly.
That's kind of the great part about social media. Just like yeah, we'll always have each other. Like even I guess students like from years and years ago, you kind of just lose that, they never come back, which is really
I looked up one of my teachers from middle school. This was a couple weeks ago, because I was thinking about I think it was after you emailed me about being interviewed, and I thought to myself, I wonder what one of my favorite teachers would say like about where I ended up. I wonder if she'd be surprised. And I looked her up on Facebook to see, and I haven't friended her yet, because I'm like, I wonder if she's gonna remember me. I remember her so well. I'm like, I don't know if she'll remember me. So but yeah, I thought, isn't that nice that we can even have that choice to be able to kind of make a connection with somebody from the past.
It must be really awkward, like when a teacher doesn't remember a student and like they're coming back.
Like, I've experienced this so many times.
Yes. Well, because you change, and I think that like we look the same pretty much year to year to year to year. I like look pretty well, not that much the same because time passes, but
you literally look so young.
Yeah,
you could record that and you could send it to me and I'll play it on loop.
No, okay, I like don't want to like guess your age, but like the fact that you have 2 sons and you've been working here for 10 years, I was
I won't make you guess my age, because that's just mean. Because if you guess too high, I'll be like, oh, and if you guess too low, I'll be like, you're lying. I am a proud 47.
No, you're not.
Okay.
No. I was gonna say 30, like 35.
Yeah,
I love you.
35. But then you also said I was trying to do the math because then you said like you got your 2
Yeah,
degrees.
the 14-year-old son kind of throws me off.
Yeah,
'cause
that's
he's
what
like,
threw me
yeah,
off.
yep. Or
And also,
15,
I think
15.
your short hair makes you look really young.
Yeah, it makes you look younger.
It's very trendy and like, you know. All right, thank you so much, Miss
Thank you so
All
much.
right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.